August 2001. A small factory at 10 Bettner Industrial Drive, Pittsfield, Massachusetts. A steel hull rolls off the assembly line, still warm from the weld guns. Roughly 10 tons of armoured truck. A Ford F550 chassis underneath. Slabs of mil-spec steel plate bolted above. Windows made of multi-layered ballistic glass, 2 to 3 inches thick. A 360-degree armoured hatch cut into the roof. 12 gun ports around the sides. A blast-resistant floor beneath the feet of 10 to 12 seated officers. It looked wrong for an American Main Street. It looked like something built for Baghdad, not Boston. Critics called it overkill. Editorials called it militarization. City councils argued for years. They argued anyway. Within 2 decades, more than 7,000 of these vehicles would be parked in the United States and across 40 countries. The FBI would buy them. The United States Marshals Service would buy them. The ATF would buy them. Customs and Border Protection would buy them. Immigration and Customs Enforcement would make the manufacturer its single largest contractor in Massachusetts. United States Special Operations Command would spend $61 million on them. They would appear at the Boston Marathon manhunt. They would breach the wall at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. They would shield officers during the San Bernardino firefight. They would be parked outside Columbia University during the 2024 protests. They would quietly become the most common armoured vehicle on American streets, more numerous in civilian police service than any tank the United States Army ever fielded on home soil. Its name was the Lenco BearCat. The G3 variant, the off-road model, would become the standard, and it was the armoured truck that replaced the police cruiser across every major American city. To understand why the BearCat existed, you have to understand the problem American policing faced at the end of the 1990s. On February 28, 1997, 2 heavily armoured bank robbers walked out of a Bank of America branch in North Hollywood, California. They were wearing homemade body armour rated above police ammunition. They were carrying fully automatic rifles. For 44 minutes, they walked the streets of Los Angeles and fired nearly 2,000 rounds. 12 officers and 8 civilians were wounded. The responding patrol officers, armed only with pistols and shotguns, could not penetrate the gunman's armour. Officers had to run to a nearby gun store and borrow civilian rifles. LAPD Special Weapons and Tactics had to commandeer a civilian armoured money truck to evacuate the wounded. It was the day American policing learned that the standard patrol car and the standard duty weapon were no longer enough. 2 years later came Columbine. In April 1999, 2 teenagers walked into a high school in Colorado and killed 13 people with firearms and homemade bombs. Police waited outside the building for 45 minutes. The national doctrine shifted overnight. Officers would no longer wait. They would go in, and to go in, against heavily armed attackers, they needed something that could survive the walk to the door. In Pittsfield, Massachusetts, a small family-owned company was watching. Lenco Industries had been founded in 1981 by the parents of a man named Leonard Light. For years, it built money-hauling trucks, ATM service vehicles and bulletproof cash carriers. In January 1999, Lenco launched its first true tactical vehicle, the BEAR, a large armoured truck on a Freightliner chassis. 3 months later, Columbine happened. Orders poured in. The next step was a smaller vehicle. In the year 2000, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Special Enforcement Bureau approached Lenco directly. Their aging fleet of Cadillac Gage Ranger armoured trucks was worn out. Surplus military designs were too heavy, too wide, too impractical for California streets. They needed something built for American cities, built on a commercial chassis, serviceable at any Ford dealership. Lenco answered. In August 2001, the first BearCat rolled off the assembly line, then came September 11th, and then came the Department of Homeland Security. In 2003, the federal government launched the Urban Area Security Initiative, a grant program that let local police departments buy commercial armoured vehicles with federal money. Lenco built a dedicated grant writing service for its customers. The BearCat became the standard. The BearCat G3 is the off-road variant of the baseline G2. Lenco began marketing it publicly from 2013. It was designed to reach everywhere a SWAT team might need to go, not just the paved city grid. And to do that, it was engineered around a deliberate philosophy. Every major component starts with commercial parts. The chassis is a Ford F550 Super Duty, the same chassis used by American fire departments and utility contractors across the country. This meant a department could take a damaged BearCat to almost any Ford truck dealership for engine service. Lenco has stated that the maintenance savings alone can pay for the vehicle over 5 years compared to a purpose-built military design. The engine is a 6.7-litre Ford Powerstroke V8 turbo diesel, producing roughly 330 to 400 horsepower depending on the model year, with 825 to 880 pound-feet of torque. This meant a vehicle weighing close to 10 tons could still climb a 60% gradient and cross a 60-foot trench at 25 miles per hour. The transmission is a Ford torque shift automatic. The drivetrain is 4-wheel drive with a 2-speed transfer case. This meant the BearCat could cross flooded streets, climb blown curbs, and still be driven by an officer with a standard commercial license. The armor is mil-spec steel plate, between 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches thick. Lenco markets the protection as exceeding NIJ Level IV, the rifle round standard. This meant it could defeat multi-hit 7.62mm armor-piercing rifle fire and stop a .50 caliber machine gun round. The ballistic glass is rated to the same level, layered thick enough to stop a .50 caliber rifle round without penetration. This meant officers could look out the window during a live firefight. The interior holds 10 to 12 fully equipped officers on a bench layout, with a 360-degree rotating armoured turret on the roof, 12 gun ports cut into the sides and rear, run flat tyres capable of 25 miles after puncture, and a blast-resistant floor. This meant an entire SWAT team could be delivered to a target, shielded, and extracted without ever exposing a single officer. The cost runs from roughly $265,000 for a base vehicle to over $400,000 for a fully optioned G3. Most American police departments paid with federal Homeland Security grants. Most taxpayers never saw the invoice. Now, before we get into where the BearCat actually fought and actually rescued, if you are enjoying this deep dive into American engineering and law enforcement history, hit subscribe. It takes a second, costs nothing, and helps the channel grow. The first moment America truly saw the BearCat was April 19, 2013, Watertown, Massachusetts. The hunt for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the surviving Boston Marathon bomber. Massachusetts State Police deployed 3 BearCats. Metropolitan SWAT teams brought more. Lenco's CEO later confirmed at least 9 BearCats rolled through Watertown that day. At a quiet house on Franklin Street, a resident noticed blood on the tarp covering a boat in his backyard. A BearCat climbed a 24-inch retaining wall, drove into position in the yard, and used its hydraulic ram arm to pull back the tarp. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev was captured alive at roughly 8:45 in the evening. Lenco's CEO told the Boston Globe the moment was, in his words, a validation. 3 years later, Orlando, June 12, 2016, Pulse nightclub. Omar Mateen had killed 49 people and was barricaded inside with hostages. After an explosive breach failed, Orlando police drove a BearCat into the exterior wall of the women's bathroom, punching a hole roughly 3 feet wide and 2 feet off the ground. Dozens of hostages escaped through that breach. The hole drew Mateen into the hallway, where officers shot him dead at 5:15 in the morning. Chief John Mina publicly credited the BearCat with enabling the rescue. According to the Department of Justice Critical Incident Review, one officer's Kevlar helmet was struck by a round during the breach. He survived. December 2, 2015, San Bernardino, California. Syed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik had killed 14 people at the Inland Regional Center. At the final shootout on East San Bernardino Avenue, at least 2 BearCats rolled in as mobile cover, while officers advanced on the suspect's black SUV. Farouk and Malik fired 76 rounds. Police fired roughly 380. Both attackers died. Only one officer suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Then there are the incidents that never made national news. Athens, Texas, 2010. A BearCat stopped 35 AK-47 rounds with no penetration. Central Bucks County, Pennsylvania, June 2012. 28 high-powered rifle rounds, no penetration. Stockton, California, 2014. A BearCat took 4 AK-47 rounds during a rolling gun battle. 3 hit the chassis, 1 hit the rear tire. The SWAT team drove on. December 2020. Albert Lea, Minnesota. A BearCat G3, explicitly the G3, protected officers during an 8-hour standoff after a suspect shot 3 people, including an officer. The vehicle took multiple rifle rounds. Everyone defeated. June 2024. Sturgeon, Missouri. Columbia Police Department's BearCat took between 15 and 20 rifle rounds during a gun battle with a single suspect. Tires punctured, windshield holed, no cockpit penetration. The assistant chief told local television that without the BearCat, his department would have buried officers. From 2005 to 2020, the BearCat also quietly crossed borders. 88 vehicles delivered to the Moroccan Auxiliary Forces in 2013. The largest single foreign contract in Lenco history. 6 donated to Balochistan police in Pakistan through the United States State Department in December 2017. Deliveries to Australian State Police tactical groups, to Dutch and Belgian counter-terrorism units, to Canadian emergency response teams, to Kurdish forces in Syria, to Serbia, to Brazil, to South Korea, to Taiwan, to Mexico. Lenco states its vehicles now serve with roughly 1,200 to 1,300 agencies across all 50 American states and over 40 countries. Military surplus vehicles were always the obvious alternative. Through the Department of Defense 1033 program, local police could receive surplus mine-resistant ambush-protected trucks for free, paying only shipping. On paper, a free 20-ton MRAP looked better than a $400,000 BearCat. In practice, it was not. As one Colorado program administrator told the Colorado Sun, MRAPs were often too heavy for small-town bridges and difficult to drive. Nampa, Idaho, returned its free MRAP and spent $377,469 on a BearCat G3. San Jose returned its MRAP. Johnson County, Iowa, swapped its out. The BearCat was smaller, lighter, road legal, air-conditioned, purpose-built for police work, and actually owned by the department. The MRAP was a loan with federal strings attached. When federal politics turned against police militarization, the BearCat survived every administration. President Obama's 2015 executive order restricted tracked armoured vehicles and grenade launchers, but Lenco's CEO confirmed to the Boston Globe that commercial-wheeled BearCats were functionally exempt. President Trump rescinded the order in 2017. President Biden reinstated restrictions in 2022, but explicitly preserved commercial armoured vehicles on a civilian chassis. President Trump rescinded those restrictions again in 2025. Across 3 administrations and a decade of debate, Lenco's business was never meaningfully interrupted. Today, Lenco operates out of more than 170,000 square feet in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, with roughly 150 employees, still family-owned, still led by Leonard Light and his son. A $5 million manufacturing expansion was completed in December 2025. The current Lenny Light, executive vice president, told local press it was the highest sales year in company history. August 2001, a small factory in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, a 10-ton armored truck on a commercial Ford chassis. It was not elegant. It was not cheap. It was not a tank. It carried no cannon, no tracks, no military serial number. It could be serviced at a truck dealership. It rode on wheels, not treads. And yet it worked. It worked in Watertown. It worked in Orlando. It worked in San Bernardino. It worked in Albert Lea. It worked in Sturgeon. It worked in the streets of 40 countries, over 7,000 units, over 1,200 agencies, over 90 of the top 100 American cities, every one a replacement for a police cruiser that could not survive a rifle round. That is not overkill. That is the quiet math of American policing. When the threat outgrew the squad car had to change, and in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, a family-owned shop built the vehicle that took its place.